Good morning, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. This is Rich again, back for your first video blog of the day for October 30th, 2014, Thursday morning around 6:55 in Belleville, Massachusetts. Sun's going to come up today, and we're going to have highs in the 50s. Some news to report. The San Francisco Giants beat the Kansas City Royals by a score of 3-2 to win the World Series, 2014 World Series. It's the third time in 5 years that the Giants have won the World Series, and 8 Giants players have 3 World Series rings who played in the 2010, 2012, and 2014 World Championships. Pitcher Madison Bumgarner won the World Series Most Valuable Player. He pitched 5 scoreless innings out of the bullpen in Game 7 after going out on 2 days rest. Unbelievable. He had one of the best pitching performances in World Series history, and he won 3 games. So no more baseball until next April, and 2015 is going to be a good year. I think the Red Sox could do it again next year. You never know. And also, the Boston Celtics beat the Brooklyn Nets by the score of 121-105 to win their first game of the season. It was the opening night game at the TD Garden. Celtics looked good, and Rondo looked good as well. Hopefully they could win a lot of games this year, but I'm not too optimistic about that. And the Celtics are in a rebuilding mode, in my opinion. It's going to be a major rebuilding project. And also, 15 years ago today was the second time I went to Hooters Boston and I brought a guest with me, former co-worker at Hot Hanks, Sidney Gray. And today, later on today, I'm going to tell you like Hooters stories from 1998, 1999 time frame. I can't do the entire 10 years I have in one video blog because it would take over 2.5 hours. And also, 10 years ago today was that parade for the Boston Red Sox, the duck boats going into the streets of Boston and into the Charles River, into the dirty water. Over 3 million people went to that parade, but I didn't go. And they stopped doing that for like the duck boats going into the water for other parades because they didn't want people going into the Charles River. That was kind of overboard. And 1 year ago today, the Boston Red Sox beat the St. Louis Cardinals to win the 3rd World Series title in 10 years. That's about it on that. And my next subject is my continuation series of the top 10 greatest everything and anything. And now I've reached the top 10 greatest Boston sports male anchors of all time. This is an impressive list. Some of the best sports anchors in local television have been in Boston, because Boston's a real sports town. And here's the top 10 of them of all time. Number 10 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports male anchors of all time, Bob Rogers. Bob was hosting NESN Sports Desk for years. He was actually the producer of NESN Sports Desk, and he actually hosted Red Sox games on NESN for many years as well. 2004, he got fired from NESN because he left Red Sox spring training to coach basketball without NESN permission. So he got fired from that, and he's been out of the sports business for 10 years, which is a shame because he was a great anchor, and I'm surprised that he didn't go to like Channel 4, 5, or 7 and stuff like that, but you know, that happens. Number 9 on the all-time list, Mike Adams. Mike Adams was the first main sports anchor for NECN. He was there from 1992 to 1998. He hosted the show at 11 p.m. to midnight on NECN during that time period called Sports World. Was an awesome talk show. It was great. It was a great talk show, one of the best local talk shows in Boston sports television history, and Mikey Adams was funny and great, and he won awards for that. He comes in at number 9. Number 8 on the all-time list of Boston's TV sports greatest male anchors of all time, John Dennis. John Dennis worked for Channel 7 Boston for over 20 years as a sports anchor, sports reporter. He was great. He's now known for being on the radio in Boston for the 6 to 10 a.m. morning drive for WEEI, but he was a great sports TV anchor. Number 7 on the all-time list of greatest Boston sports male anchors of all time, Bob Gamere. The great Gamere had a great career on Boston sports television as the sports anchor for Channel 7 back in the 70s and WLVI TV 56 in the 80s. He hosted Weekend Scoreboard. He also hosted Candlepins for Cash. But he was a tragic figure because he had so many demons. Eventually, those demons caught up with him. He lost watch because of excessive drinking and stuff. He fell out of the spotlight in the mid-1990s after hosting Sports Rap on WNDS TV 50, and he got eventually busted for possession of kiddie porn, and he ended up in jail for 5 years. He's a registered sex offender. He's never going to be on television again. He blew that. Number 6 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports anchors of all time, the current Channel 7 sports chief, Joe Amasino. Joe's very great. He is host of Sports Extra. He's been the sports chief of Channel 7 WHCH since 2003, and he's one of the best sports anchors in Boston television today. Number 5 on the all-time list of Boston's TV's greatest sports male anchors of all time, Gene Levancy. Gene Levancy had a great career as a sports anchor from 1993 to 2003. He was the sports chief of Channel 7, WHDH. He also hosted Sports Extra. He was a Boston Bruins intermission host on TV 38 for a couple of years, and he started his TV career for Channel 6, WLNE, in Providence, Rhode Island, and he did some sports casting in Fort Myers, Florida. He eventually became a TV anchor, a TV news anchor for Fox 25. He still currently does the Fox 25 Morning News. Number 4 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports male anchors of all time, Steve Burton. Steve Burton's currently the WBZ TV 4 sports chief. He's been with WBZ for over 20 years. Before that, he was a sports reporter and host for NESN. He's very great. His father played for the New England Patriots, and his brother, Ron, also works for WBZ as well. Number 3 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports male anchors of all time, Mike Lynch. Mike's been with WCVB for over 30 years. He's currently the sports chief for WCVB. Everybody loves Mike, and he hosts done a lot of stuff for WCVB. He has the High Five segment. He hosts Sports Center 5 Extra on the weekends, and he's won so many awards for Best Massachusetts Sportscaster. I think he's won it over 10 times. Number 2 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports male anchors of all time, Don Gillis. Don Gillis had over a 20-year career hosting and being anchor of Channel 5 Sports. He had 7-minute sports segments because the news at 6 p.m. back in the day was an hour long, and they needed longer segments for the sports things. Also, Don did some play-by-play for the Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox, Patriots, Harvard football. He's also known for hosting Candlepin Bowling on Channel 5 for over 30 years. Comes in now at number 2. And number 1 on the all-time list of greatest Boston TV sports male anchors of all time, Bob Lobel. Bob Lobel was the sports chief at WBZ TV4 for almost 30 years. Very popular. He says some of the most famous sayings. Time to hit the panic button when a Boston sports team goes on a major losing streak. Well, why can't we get players like that? He would say that when a former Boston sports star would go to another team and do amazing stuff for the other team after they weren't good with the Boston teams. And now he hosts Sports Legends of New England on WBIN TV 18, and he's one of the best of all time, most beloved sports announcers, sportscaster in Boston sports television history. Bob Lobo is. And that's about it on that. I'll be back later for 2 more video blogs. Stories from Hooters of Boston, the time I went there, 1998-99 time frame. This might be a regular occurrence every so often. And then the third and final video blog of the night is about my personality profile, Robert Parrish, the Chief Basketball Hall of Famer, famous for playing 14 years for the Boston Celtics. And don't forget, Facebook friends and YouTube followers, send me some questions. I need questions. And I'll answer them in a future video blog. And don't forget, coming soon to the video blogs will be Julie Broughton, Local 6, who she has a great smile and nice legs. Heidi Lee Pratt, who has the nicest legs in the world and great smile. Janelle Tobin, Crystal Pistol, Dee Patel, last week, no buzz. Bruce Cronin, want to put a wager on that. Richie, Donna Beauregard, Tony Ramos, and Angelo, who scratches millions of dollars of scratch tickets and wins absolutely nothing at Market Basket. Have a good day, Facebook friends and YouTube followers. See you tonight.